Time to race again, this time around the Bell Lap. I like this route. Bit of a burst up, get up the hill, suits my power profile, and I can then recover on the downhill and then get round, just hang on the flat basically. Problem is, I haven't been on the bike as much as I would like following my last video. Unfortunately, my wife wasn't very well. I missed last week's race and I had to look after the little ones. So I couldn't get on the bike, and I had some other things going on the Tuesday, so I missed the Tuesday ride. So yeah, not done a lot of riding this week, unfortunately. So I don't know how I'm going to feel during this, but let's find out. In Crit City then for 8 laps of the Bell Lap. I don't know which of the two courses in Crit City I like. I think I like them both. You've got the one route which is the opposite to this one, which is sort of the more direct, probably slightly higher incline climb up, whereas this one is very bumpy, so it goes up and down 4 or 5 times. It's one that the trainer, the smart trainer, sort of struggles to keep up with really, but off we go. And what I mentioned actually before in the intro was that I hadn't done much riding. I did actually get on the day before this race at lunchtime to do about 45 minutes with one of the pace partners, a very, very slow pace. I don't know whether that affected me in any way and it has anything to do with what's about to happen in this race. I have no idea. But I also did a bit of a warm-up before this because I knew that you head straight into this climbing bit and I didn't want to lose the pack. What's that? Nearly up at over 400 watts here. As you can see, it's sort of an incline, then it levels off, and the trainer just sort of struggles a little bit here. And you almost go the opposite. Your trainer's doing the hard stuff when you're heading down, and then it eases off as you're going uphill. But managed to stay in with the group. Just over 15 kilometres in total this race. And as I said before, I'm quite looking forward to this. And I managed to hang in, but I'm feeling it already. I'm in a heart rate's up at 170. I'm blowing hard already, you can see. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, than the previous race where I hung on with the group. And just dropping off the back here, I have to put out a bit of a burst just to make sure I don't lose them. But yeah, I guess 7.5 laps still to go. This is the downhill section there. What are we at? -6%. And you can see I'm still slightly falling off the back here. I thought I'd be able to recover a bit and coast, but I had to put out a bit of a burst up over 400 watts, making sure I don't lose the back of the group. I think because of my lack of riding, maybe I'm not used to the new pack dynamics yet, because again, then I shoot out the front of the group after I've built my speed up. And I think it's a little bit easier to get dropped, even on the downhills when you're a big guy, under the new pack dynamics. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't really know, but I'm doing my best. Again, see, I've dropped back again and the group goes past me. This is a bit of a theme for this for this whole race. But yeah, I'm feeling it already, and I'm starting to feel the strain in my knees a little bit here as well. And that just gets worse as the race goes on. But I have no plan. There is no plan in here. This is just hang on for as long as I can. Can I get maybe to the halfway mark like I did in the last race? Still in with the group. I think that's my first target for this. But we're already coming round towards this right-hander before hitting the start-finish line at the end of this lap. Second time up the hill then, and I'm managing to stay in with the group, which is nice. Just out of the saddle a little bit, just to make sure I keep the power down. In hindsight, using that aero boost, I probably should have saved that till I got to the top, but I'm already 4 minutes into this race. I'm not thinking clearly at all. I'm in a complete world of just pain and difficulty. I'm just not thinking. The B group have just started, so they'll be a lap behind us. They're about to come through. Any second now, you'll see them come through, and this group comes back together. And again, I don't know whether I switch off or I know I'm struggling a lot. In fact, you can see on my face, I'm like a little bit surprised that this gap has opened up again. Again, struggling to keep on the back of these guys. I have to put a blast out. Luckily, I did just catch onto the back and into the draft before we go on the downhill here. Just crossed the start-finish line for the next lap. Lap 3 out of 8. I'm a mess now. My right knee is giving me proper discomfort. I can't even, I'm struggling. You can see my power profiles drop right off at the bottom. I'm just hanging on to the back of the group. I'm going to go up here. Luckily, I had the featherweight power up that I could put down, which eased this off a little bit. And just trying my best to hang on. My right knee's starting to give me a bit of bother. My left knee's not feeling great. And just putting out any consistent level of power is becoming really quite difficult. Craig asked me whether I'm enjoying it, and at this point I definitely wasn't. There's some races that you think I'm not enjoying this, but actually I really am, because it's quite good fun. This was one of those where I'm not enjoying it because I'm really not enjoying it. Again, coasting up behind these guys, managing to get in with the draft, and just hanging in there. But I knew at this point I didn't have much longer left in me. This is only a couple of meters up the road, and you can see how far off the back I've dropped here, and I'm just praying that I can do something on this downhill that brings me back to the group. Luckily it kind of does, but my knees, specifically my right knee, is just screaming at me every time I try and put some power down. I can sort of do power bursts, but for any sort of prolonged period of time, or just to keep the pedals turning at a steady pace, it's just not happening. I just can't keep that going without my knees screaming at me. It was definitely a physical problem with my knees. Although my lungs were struggling, I felt that I could have given more from a cardio point of view, but yeah, definitely not from a physical point of view with just, I don't know where the pain came from, but yeah, you can see my face there. I've resigned myself to knowing that this is probably not going to go as well as it did the previous time. Fourth time up the hill then, and you can see how far I've dropped off the back of these guys. Luckily, I've got a feather, so I put that down, and right, it's time to either give it a go to catch back up, or it's gone. And I found a little bit in my legs. I was 640 watts there. I found something in my legs just to try and catch on to the back of these guys. And I slowly but surely bring myself back in as we're about to get to the top of this hill. And I timed the featherweight quite well, because it took me all the way to the top of this. It's still at 8%, 6%, 5%, and it sort of cut out just as it got flat. And I'm back in with the group, and hoping to just last another lap. But I didn't. Here I tried to put out a bit of power to stay with those guys. I just couldn't, and I just slowly watched them disappear off up the road and into the distance, and I thought, that's it. I just didn't have anything in me even to try and use this downhill to my advantage, but I didn't have anything to try and catch onto the back of the group. So at this point I thought, okay, didn't even make it to the halfway stage this week with the group. I was just going to enjoy a little bit of a ride round as much as I could. And actually, beyond this point, even just going at a really slow number of watts, really low level on my knees, they still didn't want to. I considered even just jumping off, because I was in so much discomfort just carrying on to the end. But I did. I stayed on. And got round to the end to complete the 8 laps. I want to say a huge thank you to Alan for hanging around with me for the last couple of laps. He was really giving me some encouragement. I said I was doing all I could do, and then this popped up, and I thought, okay, if I don't get to that finish line in 20 seconds, I have no mouse on me, and it wasn't popping up on the companion app. I thought, okay, if I don't go and I get to that line within 10 seconds, I'm not going to officially finish this race. So with Alan's encouragement and saying I could push harder, I gave it a go. I got there with 2 seconds left to go, pulled over the line, and I don't know where I found that from, because I definitely didn't have that effort during the race, and I guess it was short and sharp and to the end. But it's funny, isn't it, how you can still find that stuff in your legs even when you're really struggling. Maybe I could have had that during the race a little bit more, but I definitely don't think for long enough to get me to the end of the race. Anyway, 30 minutes 44. I was in a thoroughly bad mood after this. I just wanted to get off the bike, get away from the bike, pretend it didn't exist. I didn't even jump onto the post-race cool-down ride that I would normally join because I just wasn't in the mood for it. What a mess that was. Not fun at all. Didn't even get to the halfway point like I did last week. My right knee, on those climbing hill bits, I just trying to put the power out and it just screaming at me to stop. I don't know what it is. I've got new cycling shoes. Maybe the cleats are in a slightly different position. I've not really had a problem with the other rides that I've done, but I could feel it when I got on the bike. I could just feel a bit of a twinge in my knee. So it didn't feel like it was necessarily related to this specific ride tonight. I'm so disappointed and angry and I don't know, all of those words. I don't even want to look at the bike right now, but I'm going to, I don't know, I'll try my old shoes again for a couple of rides, see if it fixes it. I don't know, I just want to shower to cool down and just forget about it, if I'm honest. It's Sunday now. I've had a bit of a brace on my knee, a little strap around my knee for the last couple of days. It's starting to feel a bit better, I think. I'm stood here now, I can still feel it sort of tensing. I didn't know whether to join the banded ride yesterday morning. I decided not to in the end. It was a last minute decision because I can't work out whether it's going to be better to just rest it and make it feel better or whether slow recovery riding will do it good. I went with a don't ride, frustratingly, because I want to get back on the bike, but I'm trying not to cause any longer problems. The only thing I can put it down to is the added weight that I've put on over the last sort of 6 months, and my knees just can't cope. I'm just fat and unfit. So hopefully, as the weight comes off, that'll start to feel better, ride a bit more, build up the endurance and the muscles and stuff, and just get better, I hope. I don't know. I'm doing my best, and I will do my best next week to get on as many rides as I can. The Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday is in the diary with the wife. I say that, my daughter the last couple of days, my youngest 3-month-old, has just come down with a horrible snotty cold. She's coughing, spluttering everywhere, and I'm starting to feel that in the back of my throat and my nose. So I don't know whether that's coming my way. It probably is. Hopefully it won't be too bad. I can get on those rides and the knee holds up. Maybe I'll ride in the brace as well. Maybe the Thursday will have to just be a casual ride rather than the race. I don't know. That's for me to think about in the future, I guess. But we shall see. Thank you so much to all the channel supporters coming up the screen now. Your support is incredible. Yeah, that's the end of this week. If you have enjoyed it, do hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.